Thanks a lot for speaking to us, one of the architects of Digital India. What do you make of this evening? Plenty of promises made, and some of them seem to be very tall indeed.
No, it is. I think that you see a tremendous willingness on the part of Silicon Valley and India, Silicon Valley community and India to work together. The Prime Minister is obviously extremely willing and embracing this idea of opening to the Valley. And if you look at the Indian leaders in Silicon Valley, and I have lived here for the last 26 years, there is a tremendous opportunity. What has happened here today can have a huge impact in advancing the digital agenda of India.
As somebody who understands how the nuts and bolts of Digital India will perhaps work, what are the challenges that the government needs to be aware of and perhaps tide over?
I think that the ease of doing business and the public-private partnership are two of the fundamental keys to this. I think without that, it will be very difficult.
Vishal, you also understand the whole startup landscape, and that's the other leg and the focus of the Prime Minister's visit. He's going to be talking about Startup and Stand-Up India. What are some of the things that you think India needs to brace up for as it tries to create an ecosystem like the Silicon Valley back home as far as startups are concerned? How are you dissecting the startup scene in India right now? I know it's a subject very close to your heart, and Infosys is looking at this very closely.
I think the key is some of the infrastructure, the physical as well as the digital infrastructure to enable, if you look at the Valley, it is a very close-knit community, and if a similar set of communities can be made in India, can be created in India, then we'll have a tremendous opportunity.
My last question before I let you go, it's all positive talk, it's all optimism. Some people are seeing a bubble in the making as far as startups in India are concerned. Too much money, all around consumer internet, not much enterprise. Are you a cynic there?
You have to always be a cynic. It is not a bubble until every last one believes that it is not a bubble.
Thanks very much, Vishal Sikka, for being in conversation. That was Vishal Sikka, CEO of Infosys, in conversation with ET Now. Thanks very much for speaking to us. What did you make of this evening? Plenty of promises made, some of them perhaps very tall order indeed.
Very impressive. I thought the Prime Minister's speech itself was very, very good. And the show of all the global CEOs who represent the top technology companies in the world demonstrates the importance of India, both as a market and a source of talent.
As somebody who's been there, done that, and have cracked markets across the world, I still want to ask you this very pertinent question as far as Digital India is concerned. It's a cherished dream indeed, but what could some of the challenges be that the government needs to be aware of? People have spoken about the very high cost of bandwidth. Do you see that as a big hurdle?
I think infrastructure, digital infrastructure is going to be the most important priority. As he said, the information highway is just as important as building real roads.
I want you to answer a last question for me before I let you go. The startup scene in India seems to be buzzing with a lot of action. There are startups that are mushrooming all over. But if I were to ask you to wear your hat of a banker, as somebody who understands finances, do you believe the space is a little too overcrowded right now and a little too hot, perhaps, with lots and lots of money flushing in very few companies?
Not India, but certainly I would say that the startup valuations elsewhere are starting to draw some attention from that standpoint. But there are some real successes. Companies like Uber and Google, Facebook have redefined economic value creation.
If I were to ask you a last question before I let you go, what will it take for India to have replicated the Silicon Valley model back home? What are the three things that Narendra Modi needs to have on his to-do list?
I'm not sure I can tell you three things, but I think digital infrastructure definitely is one. And I think putting the information superhighway at the forefront of his government policy, which is what he did today. He talked about digital literacy being just as important as actual physical literacy. I thought that was very important and pertinent.
I really did. I thought they were superb. I think they're very practical and very possible. And it's wonderful to hear the Prime Minister talk about the potential and the expansion in India. This is a perfect time for India. You have the people, you have the right leadership, and you have just the enthusiasm of the people that is necessary.
What could be some of the challenges that an initiative like this does meet?
Well, I think change is always very hard. The technology's there now, and it's just a matter of the will to do it and to change things that have been done in the past, to do them better, to do them faster, and to be very open-minded. I think there's a real opportunity.
What sort of an opportunity do you see for Oracle here?
You see, for us, we have been in India for nearly 30 years. We were one of the first companies to invest broadly. We've got over 3,000 people there already, and we are very excited to be able to participate in this We are a very large infrastructure player ourselves, both software and hardware, and we have exactly the types of solutions that we expect will be chosen.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.